Methods of communication. When you have an idea that you want to communicate to another person, you need to use some kind of representation to get that idea across. There are so many ways to represent data. You probably know more methods than you realise. Often we use the spoken word to communicate with others, just like I'm doing now. You can see I have also used the written word on the screen for you to read. Writing is another way to communicate our ideas. In this case, we use numbers and letters to represent the data we want to communicate. Speaking and writing are ways that you might use to represent data every day, but there are lots of different ways to represent data. When you communicate, you probably use a variety of methods to represent data without even thinking about it. You will also find that there are many ways to represent data that you haven't used yourself, but you have seen other people use or you have heard about. For example, deaf people often find it easier to communicate using sign language rather than relying on oral speech, while blind people might learn to read Braille. This is a combination of raised and flat dots on paper, so they can read by touch. Other ways people might represent data are with smoke signals, flag signals, or drumming. Both the person presenting the data and the person receiving the data need to understand this representation if the message is to be clearly communicated. If I wanted to represent a kangaroo to you, I could do this in a variety of ways. I could print the word kangaroo, I could show you a rock painting, an animated drawing, or a simple line drawing. All of these representations could communicate the data from me to you. These representations don't look exactly like a kangaroo. In the case of the written word, it doesn't look anything like a kangaroo, but a community of people have agreed that these are all ways to represent this data. If both the giver and receiver of information understand the form of representation, then the communication can be effective. Writing messages in secret code is another example of representing data in a different way. Have you ever written in a secret code? Unless the person you give your message to knows your code or can work it out, they will not receive the information in your message. Writing in secret codes is a lot of fun. You could try writing messages to your friends in a secret code. Do you think they could decipher your message if you didn't teach them the code? There are so many ways to represent data and communicate ideas. I wonder how many ways you can think of.